Copilot has invaded your Word, your Excel, your PowerPoint, your Outlook, your Teams, even your OneNote and Forms, and even things like Loop and Whiteboard. So it's now covered everything. So yeah, you start to see it more and more. And we're going to show you some very, very cool things in Word, Excel, PowerPoint when it relates to edit mode. If you haven't seen that, that should be either coming as already landed in your tenant. All right, so I'd like to compare this as we have lots of discussions around other models, right? We've got the OpenAI model as well as the Anthropic model. Many of you have turned this on in your environment, and that's what's going to give us availability in researcher chat expanding across all the M365 apps, as well as Word, Excel, PowerPoint agents, which better known as edit mode, what used to be called edit mode, and for basic as well. So, but let's not forget that we always have our data protection on. Remember, Copilot will never elevate its rights on behalf of you to get access to data that you wouldn't normally have. So we always want to make sure that we've got our enterprise data protection turned on, but not without even getting over to start prompting with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, sort of sharing that story. A good prompting ingredients I always like to review is our goal, context, source, and expectation. And this will go along exactly as you have been using it. This is more important than ever in being very verbose, like using simple language, right? And even having executives speak. So by building this prompt ingredients like this, you'll have a better output. And remember, Copilot's just dialogue. And so if you're not immediately getting what you need, it's good for you just to go back. And you could always ask Copilot not to forget that you might need some help. So you can always ask Copilot to help you prompt. And we've got the prompt buddy there as well. Any questions, Will? Anything that I may have missed?
Um, Only one concern is that some people say they can't hear you. Could
Oh,
someone just give us some reactions if you're hearing JW speak, just
oh,
to make sure that we're getting that. All right, we got a thumbs
okay,
up. I think we're
good.
okay. If you're having an issue, check your side on your speakers. If it's still not working, just leave and rejoin. Sometimes that fixes it.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. I'll just speak a little bit louder, make sure everybody can hear us. We've got a good audience today. All right, let's start off with edit in Word, right? I like to often I'll get a large document, as many of you do, and then all of a sudden I need to create sort of maybe a quick brief, maybe, or you want to update in sections, or you really want to make sure that the structure and the formatting is consistent, right? With headings, spaces, fonts, tables. Remember, we've got Work IQ now, so that's now going to be able to build context from your SharePoint environment, your One environment, who else you work with, even co-authoring. It all works simultaneously. I was working with some legal folks, and they were inquiring about when the document goes into review. Yeah, Copilot will respect all of that, and you actually can command a Copilot just using simple language, like our prompting exercise that we just did earlier, example. You ensure that you're always following those rules to get the most out of it, right? Restructuring, actually summarizing. So some of those things, super easy now to do that. So I'm just going to head right on over to my demo environment real quickly here. Let's see where that is. All right. Give me one sec. I'll grab that wherever it went. All right, here it is. So I've got Word open, right? And, this is a document that I've been working on with a while. It was actually some notes that came out of a meeting that I was in from Tuesday, a couple of weeks ago. And you see, like, it's not really well organized, right? There's a lot of information here. There's a lot of people's names, right? There's a lot of dates I see, some satisfaction, maybe some other things that came up, like other stuff that came up, maybe a couple lines on risk, and maybe the next one. But I thought, well, this is a pretty weak, so there's a lot going on here. So I could just use a summary right up here as well, just to quickly get an understanding exactly what's happening. So if I scroll back up, come you'll see it just gives me a quick summary and it's referencing here, and I can actually get more details. What's a key takeaways, or I can ask some further questions if it's able to do that. And what I did was earlier, I happened to open up Copilot, it was floating down in the bottom right-hand corner. You might see that. And instead of, I was really looking to build some structure. So I really wanted an easy way to sort of get an executive analyst supporting a senior leadership and what this might look like. I want to really transform these raw notes into a clear, structured executive briefing. So I've got some examples here, right? I want Copilot to build it executive in sort of 1 minute to read, really quick, some key insights, maybe some decisions that were required. And you'll notice that I have it all spelt out here. And rather than just waiting, I think I'm just going to go let this thing go. And I love the idea that I've got some professional tone here. I told it how I wanted. I let Copilot know in this prompt, hey, I want professional, sharp, great decision oriented, right? Direct and confident, but not transparent, but uncertainty. The first thing you'll start to see is things in blue will start to change color as it's redesigning this looking for me, this design. So you'll start to see it all come alive just by this simple prompt. And this was a prompt that I simply asked Copilot to help me. There was nothing magic here. I just said, hey, act like an executive analyst supporting a senior leader and just help me structure these unstructured notes. And now I've got this nice prompt. I can save it, I can share it. So you'll notice it's starting to build out a much better structured content for me. This sounds a lot better, right? I've got key insights, implications, evidence. It really digs in pretty deep on a lot of the information that was sort of disorganized, right? And here it is, some decisions that were required, and it's building it out a nice job for me. And now I've got a well structured, and I can actually go back to the team, make sense out of these notes. So you'll see the transformations happening. And now it put it into really nice risk and dependency for me. You can see that it's put a table together just all from this. And we'll give it one more second and see what comes of it. But I really like what it put together. Remember, if I don't like it, I can always undo it, right? I can always use the Control Z and actually put an action item together for me. So you can actually pull in, if you wanted to, maybe some Excel data. Maybe you had something that was coming on from this project that you wanted to include. Simple to do that. And so it's ready to go. I think you'll notice that I've got this done or undo, and I think I'm pretty good with that. I like the idea. If I wanted to, I could actually come here and highlight anything, and you'll see I can rewrite this content to make it shorter, maybe define more structure, right? I could put it into a timeline. I can actually have it auto-written, or I can just describe what I want here, right? I could just tell Copilot exactly what I want to achieve in really clear language. Copilot will then produce that for us. So I really love the idea of taking sort of a simple document and turning it into something sort of fun. Yeah. All right. So this is sort of my first example of sort of transforming data. Did a pretty nice job. I like the way that looks. All right. Any questions, Will, that might be
Yeah.
in the...
There is something we probably should address, as some users obviously aren't seeing it in for Word and Excel, due to the 2000 licensing changes that we made. So maybe just to make everyone, understand, if you do not see it in Word or Excel, we did make changes. So tenants with over 2,000 seats for 365 are advised to try and use Copilot Word and Excel agent from M365 Copilot chat.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. That was helpful. Yeah, there were some changes that went back in mid-April. So if you're not seeing the Copilot button next to your Word, you might fall within that. So if I just hit the new, just to take us back, I can find the Copilot button down here. And it already gave me some suggested, right? If I wanted to, I can make it much more clear and professional. Let's go with that. And you'll also notice that we've got this enterprise data protection going on. And we should be able to see some of the other models here. Right now, I'm just using auto, right? And we'll just give this one more minute.
I want
So
to add on to the part about the licensing and whatnot. We
yeah,
are going to show some things that are for those of you who don't have a premium license. So stay tuned. There will be some material that's for you as well. So don't abandon ship yet.
yep. That's yeah. So you'll notice down here, just from prompting, I just said, hey, just give me a bit more insight here. Review the document, maybe one or two sentences, includes so three bolded improvement headings and one concise subtitle, and it put this nicely down here for me. And I could just click that and just add it right to the document, which it did. And I can copy my response. And if I really like it, use a thumbs up. And if you don't like what you see, please hit the down. And that's really important for us as it goes to our product group. I could schedule this for next time, and I could just export this, or I could have it read aloud. So I've got a couple of options here, and you'll notice here that I've got this edit versus chat only, right? I've got two options when I use Word, Excel, PowerPoint in Word. And this prompt comes up, I can just allow for editing right here, or if I just wanted to chat, and let's say I had a very long document, and maybe a 30, 40 page document, I was looking to gain some knowledge from it. I wasn't really quite sure. I could just chat with the document. But this allow editing actually lets me automatically make changes and gets inserted. As you saw, I had some changes that I made that came from some Titan actions here on the right that then just showed up in my new document. So I've got that option, as well as you'll set that plus as well, and I can add work, I can attach a document, and I've got some other options like Legal Frontier, which is a legal agent that we have, a researcher, an analyst, and I've got more options here if I want to add a designer or another agent. But I can add other work here, and I could actually add information from one of the documents that you see here, either maybe from a team, Word document, Excel, PowerPoint, and I can add that content from another document into this document. So I could really, rather than cutting and pasting, I can actually have Copilot do that for me. All right. So those are a really solid, easy example. I'm going to get back into my presentation real fast and get us over to Excel. Oop, yeah. All right. Well, I really love this because like creating a P&L or replicating last week's analysis into a new sheet or looking for insights that you may not know about, right? Often there's a presentation, an Excel document that's got a lot of data to it and you can't really make much of it. Here, this gives you be able to uncover by making edits, finding insights, tweaking, iterating, building charts, building tables. I love building sort of an executive dashboard, right? And we've got here as well, we've got the OpenAI as well as the Anthropic models. So that as well is happening. So I'm going to take us back over to my Excel, and I've got some data here. And this is sort of a great example. I've got this sort of very long table of content, and I can easily, I'm just going to go grab my prompt here for the inventory. And that's what I do is I want to find some key trends here in this document. This is a great prompt to do that. So I'm going to come here and you'll see that. And you'll see that I've got these options for other models, right? I've got that Claude model, as I mentioned, as well as the GPT and Auto. So I'm just going to keep with Auto, no problem. And I'm going to paste this in so I'm looking for some key trends to help me, our operations department, make sense of some important decisions for the next year. Help understand our on-time delivery rates and shipper performance, and all of that then can come alive all from this document. You see that it's got product names and categories and sizes and warehouse. What I also love, and here it is, we've already got some really nice data assessment that's already come true. And we can find out a lot of information just from this document, from what it delivered. So this has been pretty helpful for me. What kind of decisions can we make right here? Even delivery analysis, it's dug in, and I can actually come here and actually go and have Copilot add some more functionality, making build an executive dashboard. based on the, say, let's find some data on the product name. So let's see what it does for us. Will, anything? Critique, Jen? Anything to call out?
There's a couple of questions back around Word, but let's keep on. And if we have time at the end, we can circle back to that since we've already moved on to Excel.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll notice right now that I've got a new sheet that got built out for me, right? And it's actually building out some of the content right here. Hands off the keyboard, you'll see all 10 of my fingers right here, and it's actually building this all out for us, right? I don't really have to do anything. And then I can tweak the data as I like. Here it's got some key performance indicators. It knew when I said executive dashboard the things I was looking for. And so here it's actually building this out for me. It's a perfect example of using a really decent, heavily structured prompt, right? I could have done more to it. It wasn't the best prompt, but it sort of got my point across, and I could always iterate and ask more details, right, and get more information. So here it is. It's bringing the inventory by product name. It's got my counts and SKUs and all the product names. So it's actually building all of this out for us. And just as we speak, I was just making that column a little big, and it's doing a nice job. So let's see the last one it brings. It does by product and warehouse, and maybe it's got one more for us. We can just let this one go. It's I love to transform like boring Excel into really nice dashboards I like to share with my leadership. And here it is. So just in under a minute, we've now got something that probably would have taken you a bit of time to build. I also, if I ask Copilot to do something like splitting a lot of content in one cell, often you'll see that you've got like first name, last name, maybe salutation, and something else all in one cell. You can just ask Copilot to split all that up, right? Or I often get a spreadsheet that's got a full email address, and I just want the person's first name and last name in one column, and to take the domain and just take out the .com and split all that out. Sometimes that would take me a few minutes to build that, and Copilot just takes me a few seconds. So, I'm not great at building macros, or Excel formulas. Here, I let Copilot do that for me. So, all right, I think we've got some pretty good content here as it's still building out. I think you can imagine what will be next. So let me head back to the deck real quickly. All right. And so you saw here we've got model choices, right? I can change the views, right? Support workbooks and file uploads. I could actually have brought up, a slide from the presentation or content from a Word document into the Excel to make me bolster some of my, reasoning that we have. Just as we go over, anything, team, that I should be aware of before we head over to PowerPoint?
I don't believe so. There was still some people with audio issues. Jen
Okay.
put just a tip in there. If you're having audio issues, just try leaving and rejoining. Apologies for that.
Sorry about that. We'll catch you on the recording as well. So PowerPoint, along with Word and Excel, right, is going to help you stay on brand, building diagrams, building charts, right, pulling content in from other sources, like maybe that Word document that I showed you earlier. We could bring that into a PowerPoint. So now you see this sort of journey of work in between each of the applications. Recently, we started doing a lot of work with our branding kits. And so that's a really exciting new feature that I want to show you right now. So let's head over there. I'm going to head right over to here. Let's go over to some PowerPoint. I just opened up a blank PowerPoint pretty easily. I happen to be using the Word because I like that, using the web version. And you'll notice that when I hit the little plus sign, I've got select the brand. So now I've got an option to select a brand that's been part of the brand kit, right? So next week, we're going to be hosting a session with our PowerPoint product folks on our Copilot community call that Will and I and Chris host. And we're going to be digging into that. So we'll put the registration in the Q&A. So if you want to get more information on setting up your own brand kit, you can follow along. But here I can just select my brand kit, and I've got one here called Zava. I just grabbed the Zava kit, and I can just describe really what I want. Copilot, I just create a presentation on intergalactic travel. I spelled intergalactic travel wrong, but let's see what it does. And so it'll start to build this out. Now, it knows how to keep on branding, so it'll use that PowerPoint presentation that you've added. Soon you'll be able to use your logos and images. It will follow your font and any styles that you have. So all of that is in working here and now. So we're going to get some clarifying questions. And so it's really important that we sort of step through this, and then we'll move on to some other things. Is it educational, visionary, maybe corporate? I'm going to go with a strategic, and I want it short, really short. And I've got some other issues, other things it wants to know. Is it science related, or let's get into some exploration? And yeah, so we'd like to do some research. No, let's make it no. Let's just use general research. That's absolutely fine. So here it's going to go and start to pull all that together for me. And if it brought an image it didn't like, I could actually just by describing to Copilot in PowerPoint to substitute that image for another one, right? For another one that you may have wanted to use instead. So that in itself is super easy. Or maybe you can things like set the background, right? You can set the background, or you can turn, oh, here, it wants to help. So I've got a couple of options here, and it wants to make sure it's got my direction. I'm just going to use this Contoso Basic, right? Just propped up. It probably saw two presentations in my branding kit. So it gave me the option to choose one over the other. So I could have different brands, different presentations with different styles in those templates. And so it's prompting me for that. Another thing is that you could replace maybe a bulleted list into a smart art timeline. So that in itself is fairly easy to do. So you just might have a bunch of bullet items by date. You can turn that into sort of a really nice timeline. So that's another way. Or transform text into a chart, right? You could take just text and easily do that. I think I've got one in my other presentation here. This is another one that I had staged. Maybe I could come here and maybe, how about that? Let's see if I can transform text on this slide into a chart. Let's see what I can do. Oop. There we go.
While that's working, there was a question around templates and using corporate templates. And I wanted to point out that the PowerPoint he's got on screen there, go back to your Zava one. That's using a company branded template for Zavaware or for Zava. And so you'll notice that all those slides on the left-hand side are using the theme that he selected. So if you start with your corporate template open and then have it create the deck, it can use that same template that's already open. It is on the roadmap. I think it's actually next quarter we've announced that it's going to be coming to just be able to use your corporate branded template, assuming you have what's called an organizational asset library. So basically, if you can open up PowerPoint in your themes, you actually see your organization template in PowerPoint, then Copilot will be able to use it to them. So that's coming. It's on the roadmap, but for now, just open that template first and then create your PowerPoint, and it should be able to use that.
Yep, good point. Yeah, and here all right, let me go back real fast. All right, give it 1 second here. See if it doesn't like that for some reason. I think I would close it and start over. All right, so it's building. It's going to bring all this content together for me. And you can do some really amazing things like editing images in your own words, right? You can make the image on the slide more photorealistic. Perhaps one got built for you that might look cartoony. And so you could just substitute that, or rewriting text, right? You can rewrite the text and body for more clarity, right? Keep the layout unchanged and aim it to make more crisp. So those type of wordings that I'm using, really explicit, they can help you transform your presentations into, much more vibrant, right? Or even if you were copying and pasting a slide to another deck, you can just tell Copilot to please transform that slide to match the font and the template for that slide that you just copied in. Right, you can generate custom images as well from PowerPoint, right, if you're looking for one.
The
Yes.
image creation in PowerPoint has been greatly increased. It now uses the designer tool, and it's a pleasure to work with now. So if you haven't done image generation in PowerPoint recently with Copilot, check it out. You also have a model selector in there for images now as well.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that next.
And Jonathan, we have a lot of questions about the creation of a PowerPoint on an existing company template, or even if you have an example that you could show with one of the Microsoft stock templates of how to tell Copilot to create the presentation respecting that particular existing one. That makes sense.
Yeah. So we can do it one of a couple of ways. We could, let me just start a new one here. Give it a sec. This is, we could open up a prior one. So we've got, the organizational library, so we can use this asset. So here's, I'm going to use this dark one. So you can actually open up your template and then bring in the content that you want, right? Transform it that way. That's one way to do it. So you could open up your template and then just have Copilot build the presentation from here, right? So create a presentation about, right? Or add a slide. So what have you, I could just add a slide about, bugs. So you can easily do that. So you can open it up, the template, and then create your presentation from there. Or what we can do is when we started this presentation, I open up a blank. And if you do this in the web today, it's available. Coming to PowerPoint, it's coming soon where you'll be able to do this. You can just select the brand that you have. So you've needed to have already set up the brand kit for this to work. So that's how this works. Did that, Jen and Will, that explain things well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And if you're trying to get this to work in your organization, you'll need to contact IT because this is something they will have to set up for your organization.
Yep. Yeah. Remember, next Thursday, we're going to have a Copilot community call, which you can join, and we're going to walk through with our product group exactly how to set up the branding kit and all the nuances on setting it up. Lots coming in that world, right? There's a lot of things being developed. So we'll just give this one more minute. Sometimes I need to stage these things, but I figured it would be faster than it was. Other things that you can easily do, right? Update the table, right, to account for, say, a percentage. So let's say you've got some numerical data, and you want a year over year, let's say FY25 versus FY26. You want to do a year over year, see what the percentage changes. You can just tell Copilot how to do that math for you as well. Simply just creating a presentation, right? Create a presentation on how to leverage whatever or what the topic is and answer a few questions, and Copilot will build all that out for you as it's doing here for me. So just a few steps and it'll do all of that. But there's a lot coming on the branding side, so stay tuned, as Will mentioned. All right. We'll give this a moment. I might get back to the deck and see if there's something that we could come over here. Yeah, here's a really great example that I'll play a quick video on transforming a table or, two sets of columns into edit mode, and then simply just describing I'd like to replace all the bullets with a slide with a detailed smart art timeline. And so we'll watch this transform. So a lot of really great examples on working with PowerPoint that were often really difficult in the past. So give this one more second to go. And should be faster than it is, for gosh sakes. Just pushing this one along. Oh, there it is. So it turned this into that. Right, that looks pretty good. So tells a real nice story. And we've got lots of examples where we're doing something very, very similar to this, right? These are all these agents that came last month or so, I guess would have been 6 weeks ago or so, that you're now available to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint agents, even from chat, even from the M365 chat. You could ask Copilot to help you build a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, right? Just by being really clear in your request, and you'll be able to pull all the information, and as well as any work that you want to add to it. Right, I'm just going to head and see where we are, if this is being built out yet. Yeah, I did ask, hey, let's add a slide on software bugs. Sure, right here. And just by asking it to do a few things, like I just want to add a new slide. And this was obviously the presentation that I opened up earlier. Just has a guide. It was just the guideline. So let's see what this happens here. All right, let's give it a moment. There's two ways if you've used the organization library, the OAL, in SharePoint, they can be used as well as part of the brand kit. Or if you've not rolled out the OAL, that's okay too. You can just start with the brand kit. So you can use both or just one. And so here it goes. It's starting to build it out for me. It took a second. Whew, takes a long time. Shouldn't be that difficult. Any questions? I mean, I love bringing in content from a meeting, right, into PowerPoint, right? I might have had some bulleted items that may have come from a recording from Teams, and so you can reference that from Facilitator, or any documents, or a SharePoint site, or a website, just by adding work, just by using that slash, and just typing it out and searching. And so then you can bring other context from here it is. So it's about to do this all for us, right? It adds speaker slides, so you can actually do that too. You can actually add speaker notes to each of the presentations, which I really love. It does that automatically for you. And we've got the guidelines. Hopefully it'll expand too. And here it is. Here it comes. Here it is. So using the branding kit, using this template, we did some travel, some space travel. Right here it is. And I could take this, maybe make much more realistic. See if we can edit this particular, doesn't look very real to me, and see if we can use something realistic. And soon you'll be able to use, if you've got you've got content associated with maybe rockets in your imagery, you'll be able to use that coming soon. It's rolling out. So let's see what it can do. Yeah, sure. We've got a couple of options. Either want to do this one or all of them. Okay. Give this another example. And if you're doing it in the web like I am, I happen to do it because this is where the latest and greatest features come from. I don't always tendency to work from here, but in this instance, I like using my demo tenant and using the web version for all of this because I know it just works. Questions, team? that I may have missed?
Oh, no, I think everything's pretty up to date.
Okay. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, we'll just give this another second. Hopefully it'll do that. Yeah, it's still adding a slide. It just takes a moment. So just letting that go. But other things that you can do is maybe check for slide and brand consistency, right? Check this, maybe a slide that I copied for brand consistency as per sort of the guidelines. I've got this Contosa brand guidelines. You can use that. Additionally, you can translate a slide, right? Perhaps that there's a slide that's in another language, right? So you could actually have Copilot translate the slide into another language for you. So that's another feature that's built in, or that you can, ask Copilot to help you reason over, is by changing languages. Perhaps that's another thing that you can do. So you can turn something from English to Spanish and what have you. So those are sort of the big examples I wanted to review today. Will, Pratik, give you guys an opportunity. Maybe I missed anything.
Not miss anything, but when you're done, I was gonna show up a couple of differences in some of the ones I created, both with a basic license and a premium license. So whenever you're
why don't
done,
you go, and
no rush.
I'll let this go, and then I'll paste it in. So
Good.
awesome.
So-
Thank you.
All right, so this is using a basic license, so something that everyone has access to, whether you have a premium license or not. So I wanted to showcase what you all can do. So I just went into Copilot chat and I said, I think I deleted it, or I closed out of the conversation I had, but I just said a simple prompt saying, create a PowerPoint about squirrels flying helicopters. So something I knew would not be in the large language model. There's not going to be any information pretty much out there on the web probably about this topic. I just wanted to get it to something very crazy. And it's still going to create something for me. This is just using Copilot chat though. I'm not using any agents. I'm not using PowerPoint. I don't have a paid license. And so what you're seeing in here is what we could do before. And so it create a PowerPoint. It's very simple. You know, there's text and there's an image, and each slide has got the same layout in here. And the images don't even really align with my topic. The text does, but the pictures don't. But this was great, but this was 2025, right? We've gotten better. So what we have now are those Word, Excel, and PowerPoint agents that Jonathan's been talking about. And so I went in using that exact same prompt with that agent turned on now. And so all I did was mention PowerPoint in my prompt, and it adds that agent into that prompt. I then put in my prompt and ran it, and this is now the deck that I got from that. So I have AI generated images that go along with the text. I have some, it's not smart art, but whatever this is called, word art. I have just much richer, nicer looking slide deck in here. And this, like I said, this is still using a basic license. We're not doing anything different here. That's this one, all right? AI generated images creates a deck. It still does those clarifying questions like you were seeing from JW. So ask me like, what do I want it to be about? How long do I want it to be, etc. I got to pick my template that I wanted to use from the selection. Then I kind of want to step deeper. And I said, yeah, all right, make this for kids, make this into a fun presentation. And if you have a premium license, there's an additional option when you're looking at themes that say, you create the theme for me. And so that's what this one is. It's not using one of the pre-canned themes. It actually went in and created a theme for me for this specific deck. So it came up with the color codes. It came up with all the images, how they're laid out, etc. So if you have the premium license, you get that additional part in there to create the theme for you. So that's the one I have for PowerPoint. I also went in and did one for Word, but before I do that, I want to show one more thing on the pictures. I was saying that's really cool now. If you have a picture in your deck, let me open up PowerPoint here. If you right-click on that picture now and go to Edit Picture, it's going to open that up in the Designer tool now. So before it was a little bit different, not that great. You can do erase, which I think we had before, but it wasn't an AI generated erase. We're basically like removing a background or something like that. You can do an upscale, which changes this image from being whatever it is into it's not 4K, but it's closer, like a much higher resolution image. So it uses AI to just basically add pixels. So you know the old GIF, enhance, enhance, enhance. It does that. You can add text, effects. You can change the background, remove the background. A lot more things you can do with the image besides just regenerating it. Because when you regenerate with AI, it's always going to be different. So now you can keep a lot of the things by using this tool. So that's going to take a bit. We're not going to sit here and stare at that. For Word, I did the same thing. I went through, I think it was this one, and this is just using Copilot Chat. So the same way I did it before. When did Copilot Chat say create a Word document about a go-to-market strategy for our Thunderbolt e-bike, and gave it some references, and it created this tiny little document here, very simple looking. But again, 2025. This was great. This is kind of what we're like. Hey, this is awesome. But now using that Word agent, this is what we get. Same prompt, same references. We're getting a beautiful looking Word document complete with tables and headers and table of contents. There are footnotes in here that link to the document or the website where it's pulling this information from. It's using, if I picked a template, it's going to be using that same template. Really, really, really nice looking content now using that agent. So remember, those agents, there are some prereqs for that. You have to have Anthropic enabled in your organization, and you do have to have access to agents. So those two things have to be enabled for your user, but regardless of whether you have a basic license or a premium license, this is available. So go check it out. There is no cost, even with agents enabled, there is no cost associated with using these agents. So yeah, that's what I want to show you. Back to you, Jonathan.
No, I got one more. Can you add an AI created video? Sure.
You can.
Or does that be created?
There's no way to do it like through Copilot. Copilot's not going to create the video. I think we had Sora 2 out there for a while, which was our video creation. That's actually being deprecated. There's talk of another one coming, but for now, that one's going away, I think either this month or next. So just note that. But you could create an AI generated image somewhere and then just embed it into PowerPoint like you would any other video.
Right. Yeah, out of any of the content. Right.
Back to you, JW.
All right. Let me go back to doing some sharing real fast here. Keep the questions coming, right? And we'll soon have a small few-minute survey. So remember, it's really important. So, hey, it did this. It actually managed to put us a nice, decent looking rocket, not one that looked made up. So I was pretty pleased with that. So I think Sylvia had a question. I'm sorry, I didn't see the full question again. Will, can you tell me what she said? Something about, there's a question, or Jen.
Can the speaker review how he up-leveled the original PowerPoint? It went really fast. Was that referring to my demo? I'm assuming it is.
It did happen during your demo, Will, so I'm not sure which.
I didn't up-level the PowerPoint. I actually created 2 different PowerPoints, doing it 2 different ways. I opened up Copilot Chat, so just where you have a prompt window, and I wrote in my prompt to say, create a PowerPoint about XYZ, whatever your topic is. And it creates a PowerPoint, but it uses a simpler model. It doesn't look as great. If you just do an @PowerPoint in your prompt, JW, you just want to just quickly show that off. Just do an @PowerPoint in here.
Yeah, you see how it pops right up? That becomes the agent mode for this. So now
that's the agent that's being invoked in this conversation now. And now you write your prompt saying, create a presentation about XYZ. And now that uses that agent to create your PowerPoint. And that's where I got that up-leveled PowerPoint that you're talking about. Now those agents, that's what I'm saying. You do have to have those prerequisites of having Anthropic and agents enabled for your user. But then you should see the Word, Excel, and PowerPoint agents show up in Copilot Chat.
Yep. So everything that we've shown you, you could actually do it right here from the chat. And so you see, these are sort of the same similar questions that it asked me earlier. So maybe for a product comparison, like the executive, make it concise. And let's see if it found. And I don't think I get my theme. Can't get my branding here
No,
yet.
but you are seeing that design for me option because you're using a premium license. So that's what I was
Yep.
talking about. And that's a
Yep.
cool one. That's a new one.
Yep. So I'm going to go hit go. Yeah, just by using the at reference, because it's thinking that PowerPoint's an agent, which it is, right? It's an agent for editing. And here, just by using the at reference, you can do the same thing for Excel or PowerPoint. Just describe what you wanted, make reference, and it'll build this content for you. As you saw on Will's screen, it was sort of side by side. And we'll just give this one more moment. So lots of options, either to work from the M365, Microsoft 365 Copilot chat discussion here, or by going over to PowerPoint, Excel, or Word and doing similar, right? Any questions that you're thinking about? Lots of ways to transform and get information and building content super easily now, right? It's taking documents and building upon them, not starting from scratch ever. All right, give it a minute or so here. It's going
We
to
have
do some.
one question just about the sources that it requests. Maybe you can just kind of highlight how we can we can choose from many different sources when building PowerPoint.
Sure. Well, Jen, as you notice up here, I've got my work IQ turned on, which is really sort of the brains behind everything going on here, right? Copilot knows, who I interact with, right? Who I'm emailing with, what Teams conversations am I having, right? It's sort of paying attention a little bit to all the work I do. Knows about the documents I've saved or things I'm collaborating with. Maybe Will and I were collaborating on a document, right? And so it'll know about that. So when I go to do a prompt, it's going to look for those sources first, right? I can turn that off and go right out to the internet. It's what we used to have as work mode versus non-work mode, web mode. We had work mode, web mode. Well, we did away with that, and now we just have turn work IQ on or turn work IQ off. So it'll search across my OneDrive and my SharePoint, all the documents I actually have access to, right? Remember, Copilot will never elevate my rates to get access to content I don't ever have access to.
And another one that's come up a few times, and I know we just answered it, but just to be clear, not all of you might see the PowerPoint, Excel, and Word agents. If you're not finding them, if you go up to the agents and you can search, if your organization has allowed them, you can go up into agents and then search for them under Microsoft Agents and install. I'm
just going to go back over the web and show what we have here. And you've got, so I could look for Excel, right? And there it is. And I could just open that up, and you'll notice I just have to open it. And this will allow me to do the same thing, right? So now I'm referencing, it's using Excel, and I could do any of these quite quickly, right? It's got some really nice options here, giving me some helps, or I can go get other data from other places. I can get data from the web or all of the M365 data that I have access to. So I could build, a tracker from, and I could add a document. So just by using that / maybe some operations data that I had, and let this go. So it's going to pull a bunch of data. It's going to use a declarative agent such as this and build a project tracking workbook based on this operations data, right? For milestones tracking, budget tracking, risk. I mean, some of this take you a while to do that. Now, look, we've got a really great layout. It's just going to do some of this, and I'm going to grab for an executive because I love working with executives. And let's do a budget variance and on time and think some line. Okay, let's go and let it go. And while that other one was going, let's see what was happening on that presentation. Oh, and here's that nice presentation that we walked through just a minute ago. where it's building all the content out. And you can see it's sort of highlighting blue a little bit. It's almost done completing. So we'll let this go for one more second, and I'll have a nice 11-page PowerPoint that I could then take it into my branding and transform it from there. If I open it up in PowerPoint, if I'm licensed, I can then transform that from there. So, all right.
And then one other thing might be worth showing, because we've had a lot of similar questions. And so you did show image generation in the PowerPoint window, but it might be worth showing them the create, on where in create they can actually go and create a video clip. And mind you, I just want to give everyone the warning. I was in contact with the PG today. We're having some issues with video clip creation today, and I hope to get it fixed soon because it's my favorite feature. But in Copilot Create, you could create a video and then use that to insert into a PowerPoint.
Yep. So what I did was I went under the waffle up here, and I clicked create, and it took me to this page here. And I've got this option right here to create a video or create an image, right? So I could create a video, could generate a, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to also call out, because I get this question a lot, is the generate video project is more like clip art, and it's an underwhelming experience. But the generate clip tends to, you can choose the clip length and and tell it what kind of style you want. Mind you, for everyone here on the call, it's not working very well today. So if you get an error, as expected.
Okay. So I just happened to grab this one that was down here. It looked pretty good. And look, I've got other options here, like duration. I could actually add a reference file so it knew what to base itself off of. And, I got my aspect ratio, and I would just go and hit create and just leave it be for a moment and see what comes. I'm not sure what'll happen. Let's see, back to this other one. And here is that full presentation on everything we talked about, right? This was XYZ versus Contoso. And so this is a competitive landscape for a bunch of silly things that we put together. So put together a really nice presentation, and it would be even better if we can get close enough to make it on brand. So that will be coming very, very soon. See how that goes. And here, this video is just going back to create the video. So just there, and we'll see what happens. Give it a moment. If not, then I will go back to sharing the presentation. All right. With that being said, we've got lots of... So if you haven't had a chance, pull out your phone and scan this QR code and let us know how we're doing, right? And things that you want in the future, because without you, each of you, then we couldn't build this content. And we appreciate you all being here today. And I hope you found some nuggets out of today's, and the turbulence wasn't too bad, and you had something interesting on your in-flight entertainment. But yeah, just let us know how we're doing, and that would be awesome. But we will get this fixed because we need to have some QR codes. But if you open up your browser and typed Copilot all aboard one word, as well as at the end Copilot in-flight entertainment, you'll be able to go right to the recorded videos. So we'll have all the videos on all the recordings that we've had for the last couple of weeks are all hosted out on our community site. And this one will be up in the next day. And I will send you a thank you and the link here so that way you could share it with your friends and your colleagues. So I appreciate it. Anything else from the flight team?
I think we got most of the questions.
Okay.
We have 3 minutes left. So if you did have a question you want to get in, quickly put that in or raise your hand and we'll take a quick question.
Yes. Yeah. Anything, team? All right. Good, good, good. Hey, don't forget, next week, right, same time, we've got Travis is going to show you all about Agent Builder. Great experiences, something you're going to take home and do yourself. So if you haven't had a chance, sign up, and it should be in our notes section. If not, we'll drop it in for you. I'll actually add it in the thank you. Appreciate you all spending a few minutes with us today. Hope you had a good time, and make sure that you keep your seat buckled for the next session. You'll be actually in the pilot seat, I think. So.
And JW, there was a question around the recording. Are we going to be sending an email out to those who registered with a link to the recording? Yes.
100%.
Anyone looking for the recording, you can either go to the YouTube channel we posted in the Q&A, or you can wait for that email to come with a link to the recording.
It's up to you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate you all being here. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you next week.